Actions speak louder than words goes the saying. Jim Ullman has shown in multiple studies that we spontaneously infer others' personality traits from their behaviors and their speech. Not surprisingly, if we are witnessed kicking small puppies, we are viewed as more cruel. If seen giving $1 to a beggar, more compassionate. Now, this tendency to spontaneously infer traits happens automatically, and even when we simply hear others describe their behaviors. Thus, when people describe their acts of violence, they are viewed as more aggressive. When they describe their charitable contributions, they are viewed as more generous. This inferring of traits from one's speech and behavior is called spontaneous trait inference, and seems quite reasonable, right? It is functional and increases the accuracy of impressions we form of others. But the same functional trait inferring tendency also causes us to err at times. So don't get spontaneous trait inference confused with spontaneous trait transference. Consider this second phenomenon. Spontaneous trait transference was documented by Don Carlston and his colleagues, including myself. When we hear a speaker describe another person's speech or behavior, we tend to also attribute the inferred traits to the speaker. Doesn't make sense, right? They're not talking about their own behavior, they're talking about another's. But as the result of simply being in the same context as the speech, the speaker also becomes associated with the traits he or she describes in others. Spontaneous trait transference. Sounds very Star Trek-y, right? Like you're transferring traits. All right. So when you gossip, you become associated with the very traits you describe in others. If you gossip about another's tax evasion, you are seen as more dishonest. If you gossip about another's infidelity, you are seen as less faithful. This is also true for positive traits, by the way. So with that said, I would like to mention that Don Carlston is one of the most gifted, intelligent, and creative social psychologists with which I have ever had the pleasure of working. Okay, finally, nonverbal behavior is a powerful cue in person impression. Paul Ekman is the most prominent researcher in the study of facial expressions. He and many others have shown that there are at least 6 primary emotions which people display similarly and read fairly accurately across the globe. Let's identify the 6. Okay, so you can think of these faces as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Which is displaying anger and which sadness? Sadness, in other words, looks like it's crying. Okay, so pause the video if you need to, make your guess. And the answer is anger, number 5, and sadness, number 1. Now, which is displaying fear, which is negative, and which surprise, which could be positive, right? Fear is number 6, and surprise is number 2. Which is displaying happiness and which disgust. And that leaves 3 for happiness and 4 for disgust. Those are the 6 primary emotions. Now, cultures may differ in the efforts they may put into muting these facial expressions. Some are more stoic than others, but these 6 primary emotions are displayed using the same muscles and interpreted the same across cultures. Gesturing is a very primitive form of communication, and it's highly unique within cultures and time periods. Today, in our culture, we see displays including the congratulatory thumbs up, the okay thumb and first finger circle, and the bird, which I'm not going to demonstrate, but it's a derogatory, obscene lifting of the middle finger. There are many other, usually unintentional gestures, such as crossing our arms when uncomfortable, fidgeting when impatient, and yawning when bored. Eye contact. We have an innate heightened attention to those who look us in the eye. This eye contact effect activates arousal in social areas of the brain, even in infants. It can be a positive interest, such as gazing, or negative, such as staring. In our culture, avoiding eye contact, that's called gaze disengagement, is often read as evasive, cold, fearful, shy, or indifferent. Touch is an especially effective form of nonverbal communication because it involves physical contact. From the congratulatory high five, the fist bump, a joking elbow in the ribs, a lingering love embrace, or a painfully strong handshake, much communication is achieved through touch. Like eye contact, touch can be positive, like lovers crossing hands across a table or hugging a grieving friend. Or it can be negative, such as groping or grabbing. Touch is most commonly used as an expression of friendship, nurturance, sexual interest, and dominance. Personal space is a really interesting topic. Now, in the United States, the personal space bubble is approximately 3 feet. Approximately 3 feet. This is a space we tend to leave between us when communicating with most other people. Now, note that friends zone in the image on the slide. Friends get to stand closer than mere acquaintances, right? And note that our personal space dissolves with intimate others. Secret physical affairs are often suspected or outed when the individuals involved are viewed invading each other's personal space unconsciously, because it's so easy to do so unconsciously, because it's not really an invasion. On the other hand, you would never not be conscious of, say, an innocent work partner touching you or residing in that field, because that would be an invasion. So invasions of personal space are noticed quickly and make people particularly uncomfortable. Watch this clip from Seinfeld.
Yeah? Come on up. It's Elaine. You don't have a problem with her, do you?
We adore Elaine.
She wants to say hi. She's with her new boyfriend.
What's he like?
He's nice. Bit of a close talker.
A what?
You'll see. Boy, I really had no idea that you felt this way about the Costanzas.
They're exhausting. It's like being in an asylum.
This is Erin.
Hello, Erin.
Hello, Aaron.
So how long are you folks in town?
3 more days, and then we're off to Paris.
We're going with the Select Charter Group.
I love France. I was just there last year. In fact, you know, I still have an envelope full of French francs. I'll give them to you.
Well, we can't take money.
Oh, no, it's a gift from us.
Oh, that is so nice, Erin. Isn't he nice? So listen, has Jerry been showing you a good time?
No, I haven't.
You know, I have a friend who works at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. How'd you like a behind-the-scenes tour?
Really? You could do that?
Easily.
It wouldn't be any trouble?
Of course not.
When could we go?
How about right now?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, let me get my coat.
Elaine, what do you say?
Well, I don't think so, Erin. I have plans.
Oh. How about you, Jerry?
I'm sorry.
Sure. Could examine the artwork up close.
Maybe I'll try and catch up with you.
Oh, no, that'll
All right, we're off.
Okay.